So the BMW M2, the car that a lot of people either say that this is the best value you can go buy at BMW, or they say you should have bought an M4. Which one is the right answer? You know, this is my first time ever driving one of these cars, and I mean, from the short impression I have so far, it drives really nice. I mean, it's a very nice car. Obviously, the interior is really nice, and the S58 with the ZF 8-speed combination is just, it's really good. But is it worth buying this, or should you just save up or just buy a used M4? Let's find out. So this is classified as the G87 M2, which in theory is BMW's second generation of the M2 platform, the first being the F87, which ran from about like 2016 to 2020, and then they released this. Now, arguably, this is a much better car than the previous generation one. I mean, interior is way nicer. It's sticking with BMW's typical design philosophy in here. You have the big screen nowadays that they're doing. Unfortunately, the climate controls are integrated in that screen, but overall, very nice materials. And then the exterior styling of the car is really pretty too. They didn't do what they did with the M3, M4, where they made the grills really big. They kind of stuck to a more moderate grill. And I think it really benefits this car. I mean, it's a really pretty looking car. If you can hear that squeaking, that's the brakes, because it does have the performance brakes, but it is a very pretty car. You know, whatever color you go with, this one is specifically in Brooklyn gray. Whatever color you go with, the car looks really good from every angle. There's a couple of angles where you can maybe be like, well, that's a little weird. Like we were talking a little bit earlier, where when you look at the car from the side, when you look at the front of it, it kind of just cuts it off. It's a little boxy, but I mean, you like it or hate it. It's, you know, it's up to you. I like the design of this car. I think it's a very pretty car, and I think BMW really did what they set out to do. Now, another big thing that a lot of people say when the M2 gets brought up, whether it's this generation or the previous, is this is the most M car out of all of them. And the reason they say that is because old school BMW purists are like, well, the new cars are too heavy. They bring up the new M5 that's like 5,500 pounds, or, you know, they're too heavy. The cars, sure, they have a lot of power and all this and whatnot. But this, the biggest argument for this is like the E46 M3 of now, right? It's small. It's not that big. The M4 is pretty big compared to previous generations of the M3, M4 thing. Damn. But I also would have to agree. I really like how nimble this car is. You know, we were driving it kind of spiritedly a little bit earlier around some corners, and the car is very, I mean, it's planted. It really, you point it and it just goes in the direction you point it at. Now, that is due, of course, to the suspension system that's in the car, and also the traction system, which it's really interesting because what you can do with this thing is you can adjust how aggressive the traction system is. So if you want to turn it off completely and just go, you know, balls to the wall, you can. Or if you're like, well, I don't feel that confident, you can also make it more aggressive to where the car won't really let you slide, or, you know, it won't let you play, basically what I'm trying to say. So it caters to a lot of people, which is really good. Because what a lot of other cars will do is you either have traction on or it's off. There's no middle ground. But with this one, it's very customizable to your preference. And that ties into the two buttons that are on the steering wheel, the M1, M2 mode, which is basically just how aggressive you want the car to be. Now, you can configure the modes in the setup button down here. You can click it, and then you can configure how you want the car to be set up. If you want it, you know, more aggressive, let's say regular driving, you leave it normal. Let's say M1 for you is like sporty, but nothing too crazy. And then M2 is the one where you just go off the wall and you're, you know, traction off, full power, everything. You could do that, which is awesome because it's very much so catered to the driver, which is a big thing. You know, BMW has their slogan of the ultimate driving machine. And I think this car fills that slogan. It really does, because it caters to everybody. If you want to be an old school purist, you can go buy an M2 with a manual. They still sell the stick shift, and you can basically have an E46 M3 in 2025 or 2024. I mean, manual, inline six, sure it is twin turbo, a lot more power than the E46, but it's the same aura, it's the same concept. Light, nimble, and great car to drive. Then you have the other people who are like, I want to daily this, which you could daily the manual, but some people say, I want to daily this, and I also want it to be really fast. Then you get it with this, the ZF 8-speed, which it doesn't matter which one you choose, there's no cost to either option. they don't charge you for picking the manual, or they don't charge you for going the automatic. But if you get the automatic and then you do this, it's pretty fast. It's pretty fast. And it also does not hook. I mean, I just got on it. It downshifted to first to take off. You see the traction control light go crazy in first gear. It shifts to second. It goes crazy again. Shifts to third. About halfway through, it finally clears itself, and it lets you just start going off. And once it does clear and the car catches, this car is really fast. I mean, for it being the baby M car, it is a wicked fast car for how oh my God. That's ridiculous. This car's 70 grand. That's crazy. And I was talking to Aiden about this. We have a coworker who travels to Mexico a lot on the weekends. He has one of these. Apparently, and he has video proof of this, his stock M2, nothing done to it, beat a C7 Z06 Corvette. That's a 650 horsepower Corvette. And it's not like that's a heavy car. That is nuts. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's just mind-boggling that you can walk into a dealership. 70 grand is not a small amount of money. That's a lot of money, plus taxes and everything. But you can walk in there and you can spend money like that and have a car that is potentially faster than a 650 horsepower Corvette, when this car only has like 450 horsepower. Right, sure. The Germans are notorious for lying. They're not they're not very truthful, but it's crazy. It really is crazy. I mean, this is a lot of car for the money. Now, we really do have to answer the question, do you buy one of these or do you buy an M4? Because, you know, there's, like I said at the beginning of the video, there's going to be people in the video that are going to say, well, you know, why would you buy the baby car when you could get the M4 with the all-wheel drive and it launches? And it's true. Aiden had an M4, and that car was super fast. I mean, it launched super fast, but that car was also 90 grand. This one specifically is used 65 grand. Now, sure, you can get an used M4, maybe like a 21 or a 22, for around 70, maybe if you find a higher mileage, or maybe under that. But at that point, you have to ask yourself, well, I'm buying a higher mileage car. I could get a new one of these for that price. And then on top of that, that car might be close to out of its warranty soon, or depending if it's been modified or whatever the case is. And on top of that, the M4 is a heavier car because it's all-wheel drive and everything. I guess at that point, you really just have to ask yourself, do you need all-wheel drive? I mean, do you live in a snowy climate, or do you really care that much about 0 to 60 times that you need to have all-wheel drive? Because I'll tell you guys this. This car, even being rear-wheel drive, is wicked fast. I mean, you don't need all-wheel drive. All you need to do is just put your foot down in it. It takes off. I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts. I'm literally at a loss for words. It's crazy how fast this car is. And, you know, you guys might say, well, he's being dramatic, he's being all this. But the reason it boggles my mind is because this is the baby M car. This isn't the M4 Comp or CSL or whatever. This isn't an M5. This is not an M8. No, this is the baby car. This is the M2. You can't even get an M2 Comp. This is crazy. I mean, this is nuts. Whatever BMW is doing is working. I mean, it's crazy. This car is nuts. I've probably said that 16 million times now, but it's true. And of course, you have the ZF8 speed, which it's proven itself. I mean, this transmission is probably one of the greatest automatic transmissions out there. I mean, you know, it's super fast. You can put it in manual and it's aggressive. You can have it be aggressive. And it's fast. I mean, it might not be Porsche PDK fast, or it very well might be, but it's fast. I don't know. You guys let me know down below. What would you choose? I guess at the end of the day, it is very opinionated. Me personally, if I was shopping right now, if I had $70,000 to spend on a car, and I had an M2 in front of me or an used M4, I think I might buy an M2. The reason why is kind of like what I said. It's just a better deal. You get honestly, you get more car for the money. Now, if you're comparing them both new, then this is for sure the better deal, because the M4 is like an $85,000, $90,000 car, like spec'd, you know, pretty well. And I mean, you just kind of have to ask yourself, do you need the M4 or M3, whatever you choose? If you're adamant about a 4 doors, you have to go for the M3 because you can't get an M2 with 4 doors. But if you're debating between an M2 or an M4, I would go with the M2. It's just, it really is that much of a better deal. I don't know. You guys let me know down below. And you guys know I'm more of a Mercedes AMG guy, but I'm willing to admit these cars are amazing. I mean, this is an amazing car. And I mean, the S58's been around for 4 years now, 3-4 years, and it's proven itself. I mean, it's a stout motor. It really has no reliability issues. It's got no crazy, you know, crank hub flying off engine issues like certain S55 motors did. It really is just a, I guess you can say, a marvel of engineering, right? And I'm not the only one that says this. You can go watch anybody, Chris Harris, anybody. Everybody raves on about the M2. Everybody says the M2 is the car to get. And I mean, I'm inclined to agree. But let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys are interested in this kind of content or these kind of cars, please make sure you subscribe, you like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to go enjoy the M2.